Moderate our conversation this afternoon, please welcome Talia L. Young, President and CEO of Newark Performing Arts Corporation, Newark Symphony Hall.
Good afternoon, Martha's Vineyard. I must say this is a good-looking black people up in here. I have the sincere privilege to run Newark Symphony Hall, New Jersey's largest black arts institution. And more importantly, at the core of our mission is to understand, support, and invest in the black creative economy. And I must say that Martha's Vineyard African American Film Festival does that every year. Give us a round of applause for supporting it. But what the biggest privilege that I believe I'm positioned to do is bring and uplift black artists. So as a dear friend, I would like to introduce Chris Scott, the amazing creative director of the film, the artwork that we just saw. Chris, please come to the stage. And before I get to say anything else, I feel like I'm dripped in black art. Is that a nice ascot that you're wearing as well?
No, this is a vintage Kermit Oliver scarf that was gifted to me by Miss Shelby Marcus, the lady who's in the film. And the scarf that Talia is wearing had the very great honor of being gifted that by Bob Chavez, the CEO of Hermès. So I now have 2 Kermit scarves that I'm going to frame as soon as we do finish the tour of this documentary. They're going to be sacred spaces in my home. So
I'm sorry that I'm sad right now because I was trying to take this home. But this is a very proud moment, I believe, for both of us. And I really thank you, grateful for this opportunity, because we have a creator, an artist that is so honed into storytelling and telling our story from a lens that is normally unusual and different. And I think that should be respected and invested in. And what I want to talk about is, in American history, the image of the black man is often becomes a symbol, sometimes of labor, sometimes of resilience or resistance, or sometimes not told at all, or erased. But what your film does is so beautiful. It's thread the postmaster story through the tapestry of the Western black American story, who is committed to his story, his perspective, his craft. So how do you connect what this artist from Texas and what it takes to become an artist independent and telling the stories, the true American story?
When I first met Kermit Oliver, we sat in a room together. He was going to give me 20 minutes, and we ended up talking for 3 hours. And one of the things that was prolific to me is that we discussed in the movie how when he was at TSU, he was at HBCU, and during this time of the civil rights struggle, our HBCUs were the epicenter for the movement and for the protests. And these children, these young people, the energy was coming out of an HBCU. If you were at an HBCU at this time, you understand what I was talking about. But also during this time, there was expectation of black artists to paint the struggle, to paint the movement, have their art reflect the black power energy that was prevalent during that time. And when Kermit got to TSU from the small town of Refugio, Texas, which is near the Corpus Christi, Texas, which is way south in Texas, they said, "Kermit, paint the struggle." He's like, "The what?" And he stayed true to himself. He did not know about the struggles that black people were having in urban Houston, in urban Dallas. So he painted cows. And him staying true to his ideology that reflected his art was important to him and also important to the art world because he went mainstream being himself in a random way, but he still went mainstream just being himself. And so for black artists and black creators, just do paint and create who you are, what you know, and your experiences and your stories.
And I think that's somewhat similar, because aren't you from Texas?
I'm also from a small town in Texas. My hometown is 533 people, and I grew up on a farm. We picked watermelons and peas, and so I was so connected to the Kermit story because, I did not know. I didn't experience the sort of racism and segregation that was happening in larger urban areas, and so I was raised in like everybody, a Black Baptist church, right? And my storytelling, I went to seminary and became a filmmaker. And my projects, my stories now sort of developed like I would have put a sermon together. And so I stay true to my storytelling and what I knew. And I believe that's why I was so connected to Kermit's story, which was incredibly difficult to get a recluse painter to let you into his home, much less do a documentary. And so,
How many times did you knock on his door?
I knocked on his door several times. And there were times where I live in Las Vegas now, and we would have a day set to shoot. And there was once I was in an airport, and his wife said, "Do not come over." I was like, And so it started feeling like I wanted to sit him down. I wanted to get him on camera. And then it just began to feel like I was aggravating him more so than celebrating him. And so that's why we took another creative direction in how to include his voice into the story.
I think it was beautifully done. And I think, it also touches on the conversation of being a Black artist right now in the time of day, and how you see corporate America, investors really honing in on the value of Black voices and Black perspective. I think we've seen it over the course of this week here at the Vineyard, and really elevating that. So my question to you is, and let's first talk about his background really quickly. During COVID, did anybody, binge watch Netflix and saw a movie called Action Park?
Class Action Park.
Scary. It was great. That's his work. That was then picked up later. Oh, no, that was Essence, right?
Yeah,
so then he did a 5-series congratulating and celebrating 50 years of Essence. And that got picked up first by OWN that did it, and then HBO. Mm-hmm. So now you're shooting a global brand. So how do you as an artist remain true to your story, to remain true to your voice? And also, I'm going to talk about remaining true to ownership within all of these deals.
So on the business end of this, the documentary with OWN, and the documentary, I just saw the documentary at Paramount Plus, and I'm working on one now. I'm working on 2 now, one with Mark Wahlberg in California, and then we start one with Rock Nation in South Carolina. These projects are cool, right? The paychecks come, but at the end of the day, your fingerprint, they're on it, but your hands did not completely mold it. And the final product that you see on the screen is, it has elements, it has some DNA of what your vision was, but it's not your complete child. With this documentary, I invested some of my own money into it. I got some money from some friends, and I own the majority of this film, no production company. We were able to self-produce this. That is the type of project that I prefer, because at the end of the day, you get to put your fingerprint in it, you get to put your culture in it. And a lot of our movies, once we shoot them, and they want Black directors and Black storytellers, the production houses and the editors are mostly white. And there are a lot of things that go over people's heads when they're not in tune to our culture. And so with this documentary, we were able to keep it in a Black universe, in a Black context, in a way, and most importantly, Black ownership. Yeah. And so we've gotten a couple of great acquisition deals. We're not taking them now. Like I will sit on this until we get the right partner and the right distribution channel to get this out.
It's critical, like ownership, and it's critical. But how do you balance that with partnerships that bring more access and more eyes to your project, like longevity? Because I think that's also very critical. So when the artists that are in the audience, how we struck the right deal for us in long term. And this is not the first year, the film festival. I'm talking about ways of distribution, because that's where the money's flowing now, right? The streaming and the need for content creation is at an all-time high. So how do we do that correctly?
There's this golden age where people were wanting black stories and black storytellers. There was once a myth in Hollywood that black stories would not get a commercial audience. And we have proven that that is not the case. And so there's this beautiful space that we live in now where black stories and black storytellers are being sought after. And if you are a black creator, get yourself a good agent. And just start creating good content and good story. Have this wonderful space to break through, and we are seeing that now. And there's places like Martha's Vineyard, African American Film Festival, that's launching some of these voices and some of these storytellers that would not have a platform in the Sundances and the Aspens of the world. I watched a movie 2 days ago called Adieu by another professor.
Wasn't that amazing?
Yeah. I did my undergraduate work at Baylor in Waco, Texas. That's how I found out about the story. And one of the professors there, his short film is Oscar nominated. Yeah. And it was launched right here at the Martha's Vineyard African American Film Festival. And so there's just this wonderful space and this wonderful time and talk to other black creators. I love putting people on. I love, hey, talk to my agent. Oh, I have an email for someone at NBC, or I have someone that I've talked to at Netflix. Tell them I sent you. So we need to begin having these conversations with ourselves and not be afraid to say, hey, who do you know? Who can you get this in front of? Because I'm always sending emails, hey, I saw this. I have a friend who's the vice president of acquisition for Ryan Coogler, and she texted me, was like, let me know what's good at the festival. And so I'm going to be texting her. I saw this, I saw that, I saw this. And so being able to speak to one another, ask and just start using our network to advance our projects.
This is a magical space. What Martha's Vineyard and the founders, the family unit of the founders, I think is also a beautiful story of a husband and wife really investing this in a community, supporting and really creating an economic impact in the island for, this festival to exist. And I think, we were just talking earlier today about how corporations or strategic entities from outside of this market really doesn't understand the volume of impact it is as a gathering space for films. So having your film shown here, right, and being an independent artist to do that, how does that story feel and that platform feel for you?
Well, one of the offers that we've received, next year's America's 250th birthday, and there was a large company wanted to acquire the film to use this as a tool to promote America's 250th birthday. Not because this was a black story, and not because it was told by a black director, but this feels like an American story. This is a great artist who grew up in a small town in Texas, who so happened to work at an art gallery that the future wife of the Neiman Marcus family worked with him. And when Hermès needed an artist, they approached the Marcus. It's just the dots are just too incredible. And Kermit kept saying, why do you want to tell my documentary? I'm like, sir. It's so obvious why. But this is an American story. And before we get into our Q&A with the audience, we know the times we live in. We see the clips on Facebook. We read the Washington Post. We watch the news, and we understand that fascism is creeping back. And black folks who've always been the conscience and the heart of this country. Yeah. Once again, we're put in a place where maybe we have to save this country again. I heard someone say we need an American Revolution. I don't think we need an American Revolution. I think we need another Harlem Renaissance where our black people, our black storytellers, our black poets, our black songwriters, our black entertainers, We are the ones that we will write the anthems and we will write the stories of what we did to change the culture that we're in now. All this sort of DEI, they didn't earn it. Let them have that stuff. We have our unit, we have our universe, and within this, we are going to create this new, beautiful, bold Harlem Renaissance. Where's our next Baldwin? Where's our next Langston Hughes? They're in this room, they're in this space. We're creating together, we're in the editing space together. We're gonna be at the white party together tomorrow. We're all here, and the solution of what our world is going to look like over the next few years, those seeds are planted in spaces like this where black folks get to be black folk.
You're making this really easy and really hard at the same time. I guess
Q&A? Let's take some audience questions.
so. I think we have like 5 more seconds for Q&A. But we can open the lights up, and I see assists raising their hands right now to start Q&A. Where's the mic? Awesome. I believe we have a sister. Oh, someone back there.
Hey guys, I'm Orvin Kimbrough from St. Louis, Missouri. I happen to be a banker, so I'm curious, first of all, exceptional.
Thank you.
So I'm curious about the economics. So you mentioned, your question was about ownership, which I appreciate, and you mentioned you put money into the project. How do you create a broader pool of investors for projects like this to get more scale?
I have come up with this very beautiful model for my, and I'm going to talk to you guys like family. I'm going to talk to you like family. And so I'm going to talk numbers with you. I've never been to a film festival where people talk numbers. So I'm going to talk numbers to you. My first documentary, Class Action Park, my buddy Seth and I put in $25K, he put in $25K. We sold it to HBO Max for $1.2 million. This film we shot over under 500. We shot it for $150,000. And the greatest offer we got on it right now is probably about 1.4. And so when you know how to film and produce in high quality at a low rate, the high potential of acquisition by a Hulu, a Netflix, an Apple TV are extremely high. And I've just been very fortunate that I have mastered that model of producing low and being able to sell hot. So you asked about the potential funding models. Well, my point of entry I make very small. It feels very low risk, right? I'm going to be doing a documentary about the first ever American to ever design for fashion house Hermès, right? People like that. Well, Chris, how much do you need? Give me 50K. All right. There are people that are within, I was in the inkwell, the waters this morning, and I was looking around, I was like, man, these look like investors. You know? We are able, even if you wanted to get into something like this and you felt like there's not a financial model for it or it's not a good investment, it is. It absolutely is. And if you have $25,000, $50,000 and you connect with a great filmmaker who can produce at this level, the economic upside is astronomical.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to put a very easy plug in here. It's also about the production, which you talked about. Newark, New Jersey, and New Jersey just struck and changed their tax credit structure. So to film in New Jersey right now is so ideal for the money you get back for your production. So when you think about not even, and what you always talk about is pay your team first, right? So as long as if you sell it, if it doesn't get sold, your team will stick by you, correct? But it's also about the production and where you're filming. And I think what's also happening across the state of New Jersey is you have these humongous studios coming up, and the filming that are being taped, because they're going away from California. It's too expensive. I'm sorry, they're going away from Atlanta. It's too expensive. You can't book a place in New York. Where are they coming? New Jersey. Newark, New Jersey. Right now, we have Netflix filming in our building, literally right now. So I think it's really about the cost of production and making sure you pay your team, your home team, whoever does that for you first, right? So they can continue to ride with you.
Yeah, the economy works. The business model works.
I just had a question about Kermit.
Yeah.
During the time that he was almost at his height, it was like racially fraught times during that time. And it seemed like he escaped the cliche of he had tragedy in his life, but he himself was not tragic. And he didn't appear in your film be surrounded by, white patrons who exploited him or his work as well. Is that true? And how did he escape that?
So I didn't hear the question. What was the question?
He was not a tragic figure, even though he had tragedy in his life, especially during the times like racial volatility, that Texas Southern University. How did he escape that? Was there something part of his personality? Was his art? Was it true that he?
Kermit is not a tragic figure, and we wanted to put the scene of the King's Ranch in here. To show that a tragedy happened in his life, but the King's Ranch scarf showed that Kermit still had it, and he still had the inspiration. And Black creatives, Black people, the trauma that we go through, somehow we still find a way, to be brilliant and be the best. And Kermit was in this world, or he is in this world, but he's never been of this world. And so he was able to drown out the noise of racial discrimination. He was able to drown out. Imagine in a world where we live in, where people can literally discard you with the swipe of a finger, or we live in a world where people want to be. I was at a Winston's Kitchen not too long ago. And a woman walked in, she goes, I'm an influencer. Where's the owner? I want to film. And I was like, could you imagine Kermit? Kermit was not, he didn't want influence. He didn't want to be an influencer. He did not want to be a trailblazer. And so he was able to stay out of those circles, out of those tragic vortexes. To this day, when you want to visit Kermit, I have to drive up behind his house and ring a bell on a brick wall surrounding his house. And if he wants to talk with me that day, they'll let me in, right? Kermit does not want to be bothered. He is unbothered. Kermit is a man that is truly at peace. And you see that in his artwork, you see this in his countenance. He's very priestly when he talks. The first time we spoke, he wore an old, raggedy U.S. mail cardigan. He's just a remarkable guy who's absolutely not a tragic figure because he never engaged with the world as how the rest of us has it. I almost think that he's on the spectrum, but I don't say that to be mean, but he's just he painted 174 different wildlife on the King's Ranch scarf and never took a picture and never wrote anything down. And when you go to the flagship, when you go to the Hermès North American office, above their receptionist desk, they sent the original print. They sent it to the Texas A&M University. And their science departments, they all circled this plant, this is the name. This bird, this is the name. And the indentions of the print. And they identified all 174 species on that scarf. If you go to Hermès North America, that print with the scientists' notes on it hangs framed above the receptionist's desk. If you go to Hermès flagship store on Madison Ave in New York City now, you will be greeted with the original print of the turkey scarf. Like, the guy he's brilliant, and I don't know any other way to explain it.
So I think that's the thank you moment. The thank you moment is ensuring that our stories, our people, our culture is told and told by us. Not, and I think that is a real, just something to acknowledge and be grateful for, that you're telling our story and not allowing our story to be erased, because this could have gone on for years and no one ever knew that the artist had this type of impact on modern culture.
Gucci has Pharrell, right?
That's Louis Vuitton right now.
Louis Vuitton has Pharrell. Imagine Hermès was 40 years ahead of all of these fashion houses when they discovered the work of Kermit Oliver, a black guy. And I dare you look, and I know some of you guys you have looked on your phone for a Kermit Oliver scarf during this movie. And you can find them on third-party sites for maybe $2,000-$3,000. But my two aunties came out to Las Vegas to see Usher, of course, and we were on the Strip for dinner, and there was a Hermès store in the Bellagio. I said, let's walk in here. I want to see something. And I said, hey, do you guys have any Kermit Oliver scarves? And she laughed. She goes, when they are released, they don't even hit the shelves. And if they do hit the shelves, they don't make it this far out west.
Beautiful.
We never get them. And there is, so I'll let you we're talking to Stanley. There's going to be a re-release of Kermit scarves with the release of when we find our distribution deal and we settle on it, there's going to be a re-release of some of Kermit's prints, some of Kermit's scarves that will coincide with that release.
Beautiful.
So,
economic impact.
So keep refreshing your phones.
I want to get, before we have to wrap up.
Hi, Chris. Narissa here. I just wanted to say thank you for making this film as a filmmaker, and to see that it has come out of Texas, whereas I am raised in Texas, the bottoms of Mount Enterprise. And so
that's close to where I'm from.
And so because of that, understanding those roots and where those things, that feeling that you have deep inside to tell those stories, I too have that, and I understand where it comes from. My question to you is, you talk about us having a sense of a Harlem Renaissance that is coming with us as new filmmakers, and I wonder, could that Renaissance be maybe a migration back south?
I don't know. There are some weird things coming out of the South right now. And I'm from the South. I think the Renaissance starts wherever we are.
Exactly.
And if I decide to move back to my little hometown of Tyler, Texas, or New Chapel Hill, Texas, I'm taking that spirit of the Renaissance with me. Kermit, in his last monologue, he goes, they say you can't leave home, because he goes, I always took my home with me. And wherever we are, wherever our feet are, wherever our souls are, wherever our minds are, that's where the Renaissance begins.
Yeah.
And connecting with other people grows that Renaissance wherever we are. I was fortunate enough to do the Polar Bear Club this morning, and they had us all join hands, and we looked around. I kept looking around, and I was thinking, this is us, right? This is where the movement will start. This is where salvation to our body politic, the salvation for our country, the salvation for the world is going to start with the people who were baptized in those waters this morning. And so wherever we are, that's where the Renaissance. It's almost like this is church. We've had a revival this week. And now we go back to Texas. We go back to D.C. and Atlanta and Vegas, and we start. It needs to be contagious of what we have learned here and what we felt here. We can have those in Las Vegas, in Mount Enterprise, in Atlanta, in Dallas, and Houston.
Beautiful. I think we have time for one more question.
First, kudos.
Thank you.
It was great. I enjoyed it. When you shoot, for those of who don't know, when you shoot shots, you shoot films, you shoot this, you shoot that. And when you're done, you create a score. When you instructed the team that did your score, what thought process did you have that they created the feeling that we all received and enjoyed? What instruction did you give them in regards to the score?
Great question, because I want to give, this was an original score, and our composer, his composition company, they're Black owned. And I met him because I was in the elevator in my building, and I was talking to a young lady in the elevator, shooting my shot. I was like, yeah, I make film, and she goes, oh, my buddy scores films. And I was like, yeah? Then the conversation shifted. I was like, so what type of films does he score? And she goes, he does documentaries and he does scripted. I said, what has he done? And she sent me to his IMDb. I said, please, connect me with this guy. And so it was his phone number I got from her. And the DA's office, they did our score, and I'm very keen on talent. My DPs, my editors, they're artists, and I just let them. I give them instruction, and I let them create. The instruction that I gave the composer, I said, this needs to feel classic. It needs to feel strings, orchestral, no modern instruments. Play the soundtrack. Will Hermès play this score in one of their stores? And so that's the instruction that I gave him, and he just absolutely nailed it. Yeah.
So I think it's the moment we can say thank you to the Martha's Vineyard's African American Film Festival for creating a safe space for these conversations to have and a platform for amazing, brilliant artists
Thank you.
to be discovered and amplified.
I want to thank the Martha's Vineyard African American Film Festival as well. I wanted to launch our film from here. 2 years ago, I had a film in. I was not able to make it. And so this was very important to me to be here. I have felt renewed and revived. And I'm not just saying that as cliche. My friend texted me and goes, how's it going? I said, I live here now.
No, he literally was looking up for houses to live out here.
I live here now. And I want to thank Talia, the CEO of Newark Symphony Hall, for being our moderator. We have some friends that we shared a house together from New Jersey. They're part of the New Jersey, promoting film in New Jersey. And I've been playing pickleball every morning with a lovely group, with a lovely group of people here on the Vineyard. I think they're here. And I have some friends down from Boston as well. Thank you guys so much. This has felt like home. This has felt like family. And just continue coming and supporting these films. We put a lot of love, put a little money into this. Actually, when I was filming in Refugio, Kermit's hometown, the mayor, she's a black lady who was in the choir at the church, backed into my rental car. And I'm still dealing with that. And so this has cost me financially, it's cost me emotionally, but this has just been a labor of love, and just stay tuned for our distribution plans, and just thank you guys all so much for attending.
Thank you, guys.